Three people are discussing reviewing a tutorial discussion at university.
So, about yesterday's tutorial, I felt like the discussion on the economic impact of climate change was a bit scattered. We started strong, but then we kind of jumped around a lot between different areas without really going deep into any one. I think it made it hard to follow the main points sometimes, don't you think?
Thanks for that feedback, Sarah. I was trying to touch on lots of different economic areas just to give a broad overview, because I knew we'd go into more detail in the lectures. Maybe I brought up too many smaller topics too fast, though. What specific parts do you think we should have spent more time on?
Yeah, I agree with Sarah a bit. It did feel a little all over the place sometimes. But then again, I found the part about changes in farming really interesting, even though it was quick. I also think some people weren't joining in as much as they could have, which might have made it feel more scattered, since we didn't get enough different ideas coming out.
Exactly, Arya. I think not having lots of different people chipping in was a big reason. Like when we talked about renewable energy, it was mostly just a couple of people speaking. Maybe if we'd set it up with specific roles or had questions ready for everyone, it could have got more people involved and thinking harder as a group.
That's a really good idea, Sarah. I've been thinking about different ways to make sure everyone gets to speak without having to force it. Maybe for the next tutorial, I could give out some short research points beforehand, or ask everyone to come ready with one specific question about the topic. That would give us a better way to start the discussion.
Oh, I'd really like that. Having to think of a question or specific point beforehand would definitely make me feel more ready to jump into the discussion. Sometimes I'm just not sure where to start, and that little push at the beginning would be so helpful. It could really help our conversations go more smoothly.
Me too. And maybe after a tutorial, we could have a quick 2-minute chat just to see if there are any last questions or things that still aren't clear. That way, we don't have to wait till the next class to clear things up, and it helps us keep up with the whole course material.
Great ideas, both of you. I'm writing these down for our future tutorials. Making sure everyone feels comfortable joining in and that our discussions are clear and helpful is really important for how you learn. Thanks for being so open and giving such helpful feedback.
No problem, Professor. I think these changes would really help a lot. We really appreciate that you're so open to our ideas and want to make the tutorials even better for us. It feels like what we say actually matters, which is great.
Three students are discussing the role of AI in university assignments at university.
I'm still really worried about AI in assignments, especially with tools like ChatGPT. It just feels like it's making it too easy for students to cheat or not properly learn the material. How can lecturers really tell if the work is actually original anymore?
I actually think it's pretty exciting if we use it the right way. We can use AI to brainstorm ideas, help structure arguments, or even get quick summaries of tricky topics. It's like a really powerful research assistant, not necessarily a way to just avoid learning. We've used calculators in math for ages, and that hasn't stopped us from learning arithmetic.
That's a good point, Charlotte. I agree, we can't just ban it. It's already here and it's changing super fast. Universities should probably focus on teaching us how to use these tools responsibly and ethically. It's becoming a really important skill for a lot of future jobs anyway.
But where do you draw the line? If someone uses AI to write their whole essay, even if they edit it later, are they really learning the subject themselves? I worry it'll create a kind of two-level system where some students really develop critical thinking skills and others just learn to prompt AI effectively.
I think the main thing is changing how we're assessed. Instead of traditional essays, maybe there should be more oral presentations, viva voce exams, or assignments where you have to use what you know in a live, supervised setting. That way, students can't just rely on AI to do the work for them.
Exactly. If assignments are designed so you have to really analyze AI content or add your own thoughts that AI can't copy, then it becomes a learning tool. For example, using AI to get a first draft, and then having to really look at it and rewrite it to sound like you and match your own research. That's a really useful skill.
I still feel a bit uneasy about it basically changing what original thought even means at university. My biggest fear is that it makes the effort and deep work needed to really master a subject worth less. It's a slippery slope towards only learning things superficially if we're not super careful with it.
I get that concern, but I think students also have a responsibility to use it ethically, just like any other resource. Universities can set clear rules and policies similar to how they deal with plagiarism from human sources. It's about educating, not just restricting.
Yeah, it's definitely a double-edged sword and there's no simple solution. So ultimately, it seems like we need to find a balance. We should welcome the efficiency and new ideas AI offers, but still keep up the academic honesty and critical thinking that university is all about. Clear communication from faculty about what they expect is going to be super important.
Two students and a professor are discussing experiences in large versus small lectures at university.
I really prefer small lectures, honestly. In a big lecture hall, I just feel like I'm just another face, and it's hard to really get involved. I find myself kind of zoning out a lot more easily when there are hundreds of other students around.
That's interesting, because I actually prefer big lectures because I like being anonymous. I like just being able to sit there, take notes, and, just take in the information without feeling like I have to speak up or anything. Plus, they often have really good stuff like clear slides, and sometimes they even record the sessions, which is super helpful when you're revising.
It's true that big lectures are often really important for like the basic courses, especially when there are a lot of students. They help us teach the main stuff effectively to many students. But I do miss how you can really interact in a smaller class. It's just easier to see if everyone understands and to have more discussions where people talk to each other.
Exactly. In a big lecture, if you have a quick question, you can't just shout it out, and raising your hand feels awkward with so many eyes on you. You just end up waiting until after class, if you even remember, or you just stay confused. It really makes it harder for me to learn.
I guess I just don't have that problem as much. A lot of my big lectures have specific times for questions, or even online forums that the TAs run, where you can just ask questions without anyone knowing who you are. I think that works pretty well for clearing things up without stopping the main lecture.
That's a good point about using technology and having enough staff to help out. We're always trying to find ways to make those big classes more interactive. It's really about finding a balance between getting information out to everyone and making sure every student feels supported as they learn.
Maybe if big lectures had more interactive parts, like in class polls or quick things to discuss, that would really help. Even putting us into small groups for a couple of minutes to talk about something could make a huge difference. That way, you're not just sitting there and listening for an hour.
I totally agree with adding more interactive parts to big lectures. That would definitely make things better. But for some subjects, like really big introductory science classes, you really need to get that general idea first before you go into all the details. Small lectures just wouldn't be able to cover so much information as well.
You both brought up some really important points. I think the best way is probably to have a mix of both. So big lectures for the basic ideas, and then smaller tutorials or seminars for like deeper talks and more personal feedback. It's about setting up the learning so it really fits the subject and what students need, and also using technology to make it more engaging.
Two students and a professor are discussing how different lecturers teach at university.
It's always so interesting how different teaching styles are here. I really like lecturers who make their classes interactive, like Professor Evans, who always lets us ask questions during the lecture. It just feels so much more interesting than someone just reading from slides, you know?
I understand that preference, Sarah. As professors, we often have to balance giving you the main information with encouraging discussion. And sometimes a more direct approach is necessary, especially for basic topics. Also, we need to think about different learning styles. Some students really learn best from information that's given clearly and in a structured way before they start debating.
That's true, Professor. But I've noticed that lecturers who connect the theory to real world examples are the ones where the information really sticks. Like Dr. Chen in our marketing class. She always shares case studies and recent examples from the industry. It makes the difficult ideas so much easier to understand and remember.
Ah, yes, Dr. Chen's way of teaching is great for subjects that are more practical. We try to encourage that in all departments, but it can be hard for very theoretical subjects, like pure maths or some philosophy courses. For those, the focus might be more on critical thinking and solving abstract problems, which needs a different teaching style.
I guess that makes sense. Still, I wish more lecturers would use technology to make things more lively. Some are brilliant with online quizzes and interactive polls during classes, which is a great way to check if we understand. Others just upload a PDF and that's it. It feels a bit dated now, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Using online learning platforms for group projects or even just a well organized discussion board can make a huge difference. It takes the learning beyond the lecture hall, letting us really get into the material and talk to each other at our own pace. It's not just about giving out information anymore.
You're both right about how much technology can help, and we're seeing more people using it every year, but it takes a lot of time to create those interactive things, especially when we also have research work. There's also the problem of making sure everyone has equal access to the tools and knows how to use them well.
That's fair, but even small things like quick feedback on assignments or clearer information about what's expected make a huge difference. Some lecturers respond really quickly and are easy to talk to, while others feel totally disconnected. That connection really affects how motivated I feel.
Exactly. In the end, it's about finding a balance that works for different learning styles and makes us feel supported. A mix of clear structure, interesting interactive parts, and feedback that's easy to get seems like the best teaching style. It's a tough job, but the best lecturers really manage to pull it off.
Two students and a student services advisor are discussing accessing financial hardship support at university.
I'm really struggling financially this semester, and it's making it hard to focus on my studies. I heard the university has some kind of hardship fund, but I'm not even sure where to start looking for information. It just feels like such a huge, overwhelming process, just to find out if I'm eligible.
I understand it can feel a bit scary, Jessica, but there's definitely help available. The best place to start is usually our Student Financial Aid Office website. They have a special section for hardship applications there. We've actually made the process a lot simpler over the last year, so it's more straightforward than you might think.
That's good to hear, Chris. But I've heard stories about students applying and getting turned down because the rules are so strict. Is it only for really tough situations, like if you can't pay rent? Or could it help with everyday expenses, like textbooks or getting around? I'm worried about wasting time filling out forms if I won't qualify for anything substantial.
Exactly, Lily. I'm also worried about how long the application takes and what documents they need. My situation isn't super bad, but unexpected medical bills have really hit my savings hard, and I'm finding it hard to pay for basic living costs. It'd be great to know if smaller emergency grants are an option too.
You both have really good points, and it's true. There are different levels of help. While the biggest funds are for severe hardship, we do have emergency grants for unexpected costs, even smaller stuff like medical bills or emergency travel. The application usually asks for proof of income, your expenses, and a short note explaining your situation, but we try to process them quickly.
That's actually a relief to hear about the emergency grants. But what if it's not just about money? Are there other kinds of help? Like if someone's struggling to get food or needs help finding a cheaper place to live? I know some friends who've had those problems, and it's not always just about money, you know?
Oh, that's a really good point, Lily. I hadn't even thought about that. So it's not just about getting a loan or a grant? The university could also connect us with other resources? That would be super helpful, especially for international students who might not know where to look.
Absolutely. We connect students with lots of different services. So, beyond just direct financial aid, our office can send you to our campus food bank, give advice on student housing, or even connect you with mental health help if stress is a problem. We also have a special team that can help international students find local resources. It's really about giving you all around support.
Wow, that's much more than I imagined. I feel much better knowing there are so many options and people to help. I think I'll go check out that financial aid website you mentioned, Chris, and maybe even book a quick chat if I have more specific questions. Thanks so much for clearing everything up.
Thank you for watching this video. Will help you a lot, and subscribe our channel Vital PTE Academy to see more education related videos of PTE Academy. I will meet you in next video.